Hey, hi guys, welcome back to the another video of VMware vSphere install configure manage. So in this video, we are going to cover module number second, which is all about virtualization and vSphere. Okay, so let's just begin. So importance, what we will going to learn throughout this module and why this module is important. So as a vSphere, you must with the concept of on which VMware vSphere is based, right? So you must understand the I know concepts like virtualization, what virtualization is. Okay, so basically virtualization is a fundamental technology that enables the creation of virtual environments. Okay, by asserting your physical hardware and creating virtual representations of computing resources. So the ESXi hypervisor is VMware hypervisor type 1. Okay, then you must also think of that is fundamental of vSphere. Okay, how you can use these vSphere components and how your vSphere defines the software defined data center. Okay, so here we will going to learn about the fundamentals component of vSphere and how vSphere fits into the software defined data center. Okay, software defined data center is like uh, you have all the things, let's say for sector, for infrastructure, for networking, for hardware, for all those things, you have some software to manage. Okay, so vSphere fits into the software defined data center because this is native for each and every product of VMware. Okay, mostly, right? Then when to use each of the user interface. So we have different kind of user interface like E6i, uh, client, okay, vSphere client, right? So vSphere clients give centralized management platform, okay, and E6i client provides you the details, the console of your ESXi host. Okay, so how you're going to access it, we're going to explore in this training. So here we have two models. Model number one is all about vSphere virtualization overview, and model number two is all about vSphere virtualization of the resources. Okay, so lesson one, vSphere virtualization overview. So guys, here I will going to define what virtualization is. Okay, before virtualization, how we used to use infrastructure. Then what vSphere is, how vSphere fits into the software-defined data center, or we can call it as SDDC. Okay, and then this guy vSphere Plus. So vSphere Plus, that is a new feature which is introduced in V8. Okay, so in the V7 or V6.7, this feature was not there. So it let you manage your cloud infrastructure and on-prem infrastructure from a single console that can, save administrative tasks and their time. Then we have as recognize the user interfaces for accessing vSphere. Okay. Okay. So guys, I believe that you might be aware of these terminology, which we will going to explore right now. That is operating system, right? So operating system is something which allocates your physical resources to the virtual applications. Okay, means your hardware like CPU, memory, hard disk, network, storage. Okay, so operating system allocates those resources to the applications. Applications are like whether you have Chrome application, Word, MS Teams, right? So they need those resources for the operations, right? So operating system is the um, mediator which allocates resources to the applications. Then what is application? So application is something which consumes the physical resources, right? As I mentioned in this here, right? So application, that is basically a software, okay, which runs on your operating system and consumes the physical resources, right? So for example, Microsoft Office, Chrome, Word, MS Teams, Zoom, okay, your any application, right? Then we have hypervisor, okay, who don't know about the hypervisor, so let me just tell you that hypervisor is also a special type of operating system. Okay, because see, in the very first operating system, we saw that operating system is something which allocates the physical resources to your applications, right? So hypervisor also does the same, right? It allocates physical CPU, physical memory, okay, to the virtual machines. Okay, so here virtual machines are special kind of applications. Okay, so they are kind of application which uses the hardware resources into software. Now guest. So this is we can consider as guest OS. So guest OS, this is the operating system which we installed inside the virtual machine. For example, here you have host. On top of it, you have hardware. Then on top of it, you deploy operating system. And in our case, we have deployed ESXi. Now here you have virtual machines. Okay. So this virtual machine, inside this virtual machine, you will going to install some operating system, right? That will be Windows 10 or Windows 11, right? So this operating system inside this virtual machine is called as guest operating system. Okay. Then we have host. So host, as I mentioned, that the physical server which has ESXi on it, that we call as a host. Okay, in VMware terminology. Now vSphere. So what a vSphere is? So vSphere is a combination of centralized management platform plus hypervisor. Hypervisor. So in our case, centralized management platform is our vCenter. Hypervisor is our ESXi. Okay. So combination of these two makes a vSphere. Okay. We have data store, right? So data store is something where you store your data, right? Like this is a storage basically in the VMware, right? So storage location for your virtual machines files. Okay. Okay. So where you can keep these virtual machine files. Then maintenance mode. So maintenance mode. So whenever you have to, put your host into the shutdown mode, right? So before putting it into the direct shutdown mode, you put it into the maintenance mode. Okay. And before doing that, you have to, perform some maintenance operation so that your entire data can be in a safer mode, right? So that is the maintenance mode. And once you power it on to restart it again, okay, then you have to exit it from the maintenance mode. Then we have cluster. So cluster is something which contains multiple ESXi hosts, okay, and makes a group. Right. And by using cluster, you get multiple features like HA and DRS. So HA and DRS are the examples. Okay, I have mentioned in the module number 1 also what HA and DRS is. More about it, we will discuss in the 9th module. Okay, what HA, what is DRS, right? How they can keep your entire um, environment up and alive, okay, all the time. Okay, so this is nothing, just a group of ESXi whose resources are shared together. Okay, for example, let's say here we have multiple hosts, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Each host has 10 CPU. Okay, so when you combine it, so total you have 40 CPU. Okay, now this 40 CPU you can allocate to any virtual machines which resides on these ESXi's. Okay. Then vMotion, as I mentioned in the first module. So vMotion is basically a feature when you migrate the virtual machine from one host to another host when that virtual machine is powered on. Okay, so main thing here is the virtual machine is powered on. But what we call it when virtual machine is not powered on? Then we call it as a cold migration. Okay, so either you can call it as a hot migration and cold migration. So hot migration is when your virtual machine is powered on and then you are migrating it. Cold migration is virtual machine is powered off and then you are migrating it. Okay. So vSphere vMotion means virtual machine which is powered on and then you are migrating it from host to host. Okay. Okay. So now here we have data center physical infrastructure. Guys, this slide is all about like how we used to use our infrastructure, okay, before virtualization, right? So for example, let's say there is a company. uh, let's take an example of networkings. Okay, now this company has multiple application in their company, right? Maybe one application is for finance, one application is for let's say IT or for something else, right? They have multiple applications. Now, before virtualization, we could install or deploy one application on a one physical server only. Okay, so and these physical servers are very costly. Okay, so they might be their cost might be around 5 lakh, 10 lakh, depending on what kind of hardware you're using there. Okay, so, for example, let's say here they have multiple applications. Okay, on one physical server, they can install only one operating system, and on one operating system, they can run only one application. Okay, so in that scenario, if they have multiple applications, they need to purchase lots of servers. Okay, for those lots of servers, they need lots of space. Okay, means area, so that they can keep it in the server room, right? Then these servers are meant to be run for a 24 into 7, right? For those, they need cooling, so they need lots of AC so that they can cool all hosts down, right? Then now you have multiple ESXi hosts, sorry, multiple servers. Okay, then you need manpower, so you need more manpower to manage multiple servers, right? So like when virtualization was not there, so it was very hard to manage all these things and it increases the cost. And if we look at this thing as a enterprise point of view, so all the host, okay, means all servers, 100% of the time, they are not utilizing 100% of the resources. Okay, so this is time here we are talking about, and here we are talking about the resources. So do you think 100% of the time, 100% of the resources are being utilized? No, right? Because one application, how much resources it can utilize? Maybe 10%, 20%, 30%. If let's say lots of load are there, then it could go for 50, 60%, right? But mostly it might be using 20 to 30%. Okay, but what about the rest of the 70% of the resources? So as per the enterprise point of view, those 70% resources were wastage. Okay, so to avoid those wastage, so and in companies, some brilliant mind came up with new idea, and then they introduce virtualization. Now, with the help of virtualization, what you can do, you just purchase one operating system, sorry, one physical server. Okay, on top of that, you deploy hypervisor. In our case, we are talking about the ESXi. Okay, now on that hypervisor, you can deploy multiple operating system, and in one operating system, you can deploy multiple applications, right? So let's say in previous example, let's say they had 10 application. Okay, for 10 application, they need 10 servers. Okay, now on one single physical server, we can deploy 10 virtual machine, even more than that, right? So we can deploy lots of virtual machine on a single physical server. Okay, so now by deploying multiple operating systems and application on a single physical server, now we can say that we can utilize more resources in a very efficient way. Means I can utilize 80 to 90% of the resources. Why 80 to 90, not 100? Because if we go for 100, then the server may crash. Okay, it will not be able to handle entire load. Okay, so we need some buffer so that if load increases, it can handle, right? That's why. So now it decreases the cost of multiple physical servers, of manpower, area, AC coolings, okay, their maintenance, right? So virtualization was a game changing. Now, if we talk about the virtual machine, okay, what a virtual machine is. So basically, this is a software representation of a physical computer, right? Which contains multiple resources. Resources like it contains guest operating system, VMware tool, virtual machine, which have to deploy on the VMware environment that must have VMware tool for their smooth operation. In upcoming module, we will learn about like what how helpful VMware tool is. Okay, how efficient it is. Then resources like it has CPU, memory, network, disk and controllers, GPUs also. Okay, this is graphical performance unit. Okay, so like we have CPU, which can handle one task at a one time, but GPUs are meant for handling thousands of tasks at the same time. Okay, so it is required where you need to calculate multiple calculations at the same time. Let's say for 3D drawings or scientific applications, right? Or gaming applications like that. Now, what are the benefits of using virtual machine? If someone came to you and say like, hey, I have physical server and I have virtual machine, so which should I use, right? So in that case, virtual machine is much beneficial, okay, as this is virtual and we can migrate it from here to there, like worldwide, okay, without without using any transport or anything, just sitting from anywhere in the world. You just need internet access and then you can migrate it, okay, from one data store to another data store or one vSphere to another vSphere, okay, like that. But for the physical server, it is very hard to move a copy. Why? For example, let's say in your company, okay, you have one server. Now you have done all the testing and development on that server. Now you need to send it to the Japan site. Now one person will come to your company. Okay, they will going to collect that. Then they will take it to the airport or maybe to the uh, this what we call like via ships. You can courier it, right? And it will take lots of time. Okay, maybe sometimes it may take months to send it to the another location, geographical location, right? But if you have virtual, you just what you need to do, you just need to do it cold migration or the hot migration. Okay, so within just minutes, it can migrate from India to Japan, Japan to USA, USA to Australia, anywhere in the world. Okay, then they're bound to specific set of hardware components. Means if CPU fails, right, or hardware fails, right, so entire system will get failed. So they have specific limit, and usually they have short life cycle. So as per IT norms, we use hardware for 3 to 5 years only. 3 to 5 years. That's the policy. But virtual machine, if we talk about it, so you can run it as long as you want. Okay, till you can update it, okay, to the newer versions, or you can install new patches and all these things, right? So virtual machine will be more reliable in this scenario. And if you need virtual machine to do its maintenance and anything, you need personal contact. Someone should be there at the physical site. They have to manage it, right? They have to upgrade hardware. So to upgrade hardware, let's say they need to open all the screws, take it out, then add hardware, then again install it in the rack, then uh, you know uh, tighten the screw, then power it on. So it will take lots of time. But if you need to change any physical things in the, let's say any physical resources in the washing machine, so it's just a work of couple of um, clicks. So with a couple of clicks, you can make any changes in the washing machine, right? So they are easy to move a copy independent of physical hardware because washing machines are encapsulated into files. Virtual machine, whenever you deploy virtual machine, its files will be created and those files resides in the data store. Okay, so these files doesn't resides on the physical uh, hardware. Okay, so they're independent from it. Then isolated from the other virtual machines. If this crashes, it will not going to impact on this one. Okay, because they are different boundaries they have, and then insulated from physical hardware changes. So if you make changes here, let's say, for example, I have set 4 virtual CPU to this virtual machine. Okay, and here maybe let's say right now I have 8 physical CPU, or you can call it a logical CPU. Maybe I may change it from 8 to let's say 16. Okay, so in that scenario, it will not going to impact on this because it will going to consume only 4 CPU. Okay, now about vSphere. What vSphere is? So as I mentioned, that vSphere is a combination of centralized management platform, that is our vCenter, and hypervisor, that is our ESXi. Okay, which you can run virtual machine. Okay, honestly, you can run virtual machines. vCenter, that is centralized administration platform for ESXi, for host, virtual machine, storage, networking. So multiple ESXi hosts you can manage by using vCenter. Okay, like here we have. So what vCenter is? So this is a appliance, virtual appliance. Okay, there's a difference between virtual appliance and virtual machine. Virtual appliance is pre-configured appliance or pre-configured machine which has its own operating system, own database, own services, okay, like that. But in the virtual machine, you can install any operating system, you can install any data base, okay. So you can configure it as per your own. Okay, but appliance, it has pre-configured operating systems, database, those kind of things. Okay. So you deploy this vCenter on one of the ESXi hosts, okay, as a appliance, and then by using its IP address, you can access to the vSphere client. And by using vSphere client, you can manage all the ESXi hosts, their virtual machines, their network, their storage, okay, from a single console. Then right now, as I just mentioned that server virtualization is there, right? But this is not only the virtualization which came into the picture till yet. Okay, so we have different kind of virtualization, right? Like here you can see we have network virtualization, we have storage virtualization, okay, and we have desktop virtualization. So I believe that you are aware of server virtualization, right? So in the market, there are multiple vendors which provide server virtualization. So let me just write it down here. Server virtualization. Okay, in market you have VMware, VMware ESXi we are using. Oh, I'm sorry, my writing is a little bad. ESXi. Okay, Microsoft is also there, which provides Hyper-V. Hyper-V. Okay, this is all about server virtualization. Now, if we talk about network virtualization, okay, so network virtualization separates network services from the underlying physical infrastructure, and it creates virtual networks that are independent of physical hardware, which simplifies network management and allowing for scalability and automation. So it enables the deployment of virtualized services and applications while providing flexibility to easier network administration. Okay, so VMware also has its own product in VMware, that is we call as NSX. In the market, different vendors are also there, like Cisco is also there, which provide ACI, application centric infrastructure. Then if we talk about storage virtualization, then storage virtualization abstract physical storage devices into logical pools, which makes it easier to manage and utilize storage resources. Okay, so VMware has its product as VMware vSAN. Okay. In the market, Dell is also there, which provide storage virtualization. And then we have desktop virtualization. Desktop virtualization delivers virtual desktop to users by allowing them to access their desktop environment from different devices. Okay, so what it does, it centralizes desktop management, improves the security, and enhances the mobility. Okay, so by running desktop operating system and application on virtual machine, desktop virtualization simplifies administration, it lowers the cost, and provides a consistent user experience. Okay, so VMware also has its own product. Okay, that what we call as Horizon. Horizon. Okay, and in the market we have Citrix also, which provides virtual desktop. So they call it as VAD. So CAD. Citrix Virtual Apps and Desktop. Citrix Virtual Apps and Desktop. Okay, Microsoft is also there, which provides RDS. Okay, that is remote desktop services, right? So now here we have software-defined data center. Okay, what software-defined data center is? So basically, for each and every resources, you have some software by which you are managing those resources. Okay, so like for compute means compute is a combination of CPU and memory. Okay, so for compute we have vSphere. For storage we have vSAN. For network we have NSX. And vSphere is native to all these components. Okay, like whether it is all about your cloud or your automation services or your business continuity. So these protect your environment when any disaster occurs. Okay, by taking a backup to the another location. And for the security also. So vSphere is native to all these products. Okay, and that's why it's make it as a software defined data center. Now, what's the difference between vSphere and vSphere Plus? As I mentioned, that vSphere, when you are managing on-premise data center, okay, that is your vSphere. Okay, like you have all the servers, virtual machines on the on-premise. Okay, but you have vSphere Plus where you are managing the cloud and the on-premises on a single console. Okay, so by using this, you can uh, save your time and administrative tasks. Okay, so from this console, vSphere Plus, this console. So from here, you can manage your own cloud services, whatever you have taken, and along with this, you can manage your on-prem infrastructure as well. Okay, so multiple vCenters you can manage. Now, what services vSphere Plus provides? So for admin services, so it provides inventory management, event alert management, VM provisioning means you can provision the virtual machines, lifecycle management, configuration management. For developers, they have Tanzu Kubernetes Grid, Tanzu integrated services, and add-on services like disaster recovery. Okay, so in case any disaster occurs, it can protect your environment from it. How it can protect? By taking the backup of your environment to a different location. Now, how we can access the user interface? Okay, how we can access ESXi, right, or vCenter. So there we have four different vSphere clients by which we can access the VMware environment. Okay, so here the very first is vSphere client. Okay, as I mentioned, that vSphere client is the centralized management platform by which you can manage ESXi and vCenter and ESXi, right? By using VMware Power CLI, this is Power Command Line Interface. So you can use Power CLI when you need to perform advanced automation or when you need to manage multiple vSphere objects simultaneously. Okay, and execute tasks that requires more extensive spirit capabilities. Okay, then host client that gives access to the host only. Okay, direct host only, but not to the vCenter. Then ESX CLI. So this is ESXi CLI means which provides access command line interface access to the host only. Okay, not to anything else. Okay, guys. So now we have completed module number second, first lesson, right? Now we have lab. So after some time, like in the next video, I will let you know how to explore the labs. Okay, how to play around it. Okay. So guys, stay tuned with me to have more informative content like this. And I hope you learned lots of things here.